Behind me is the brand new Norwegian Aqua cruise ship, and we're setting sail on the maiden voyage.
Oh, Ben, you're not going to believe what we've just been told.
Starting from here in Southampton, England, all the way across the Atlantic to Boston in the USA.
So we've just heard some pretty shocking news, guys. We'll keep you updated when we find out more.
And what is the brand new Aqua slide coaster like? Is it better than the racetrack? Well, join us as we get on board and find out. I'm so excited. Right, where's the entrance?
Well, ahoy there, cruisers, and welcome back.
Yes, we're going on the Norwegian Aqua. We've just arrived at the brand new cruise terminal here in Southampton. It's called the Horizon Terminal, and it's kind of a terminal built with MSC and Norwegian Cruise Line, so it's a new one. So it's a lovely terminal to be boarding. Super excited. We've printed off all of our documentation. We did forget to put our bag tags on. David's just doing that now. He was putting them in our little things we bought from Amazon in the car, and now they're firmly strapped to the car so we can get in now, which is fantastic, and go drop off our luggage. So let's do this, go through check-in, all of that sort of stuff. We did all of our check-in online, and then let's get on board the ship. I am so excited. Let's do this.
We dropped off our baggage and then joined a huge queue to check in, which spanned all the way around the terminal. Despite the line being long, everybody was in good spirits because we're all getting on board a brand new cruise ship. After about 50 minutes of waiting, we got to the front of the queue and something happened.
Oh, Ben, you're not going to believe what we've just been told.
Oh, guys, it's all went terribly blooming wrong. So we arrived at the port, dropped off our bags, started waiting in security. Then once we got to the front of the queue, this was after about 40 minutes of waiting, we heard whispers of people saying, "Oh, have you not been told?" And we were like, "Oh, what have we not been told?" Well, they were telling people earlier on that the cruise is drastically changing because of weather. So we were meant to do a 7-night cruise to Boston. It's turned into a 9 or 10-night cruise now to New York. And they didn't tell us this until after we dropped off our bags, even though they all knew this morning. Very early this morning, they were telling passengers, apparently. So guys, we can't do the cruise, basically because we have a wedding the day before this new cruise ends, and we can't miss that. Plus, I don't know if we want to spend 9 days at sea in horrendous weather where it's going to be very bumpy. So it's not going to happen. So I'm really sad, to be honest, but more than that, I'm a little bit more upset with how it's been dealt with. There's nobody to speak to, nobody explaining what's happening. We were given a letter that basically says, "Oh, enjoy your new 3 days on board," which would be fantastic if we could enjoy the beach club and the infinity pool. It's like, well, if it's going to be horrendous weather in the middle of winter, I don't think that's going to happen, is it? But hey, a lot of very disappointed people. We've just spent about 10 or 15 minutes with an older couple trying to help them book flights back to Boston, and they were really panicking because they don't know what to do and there's nobody to help, which is a bit of a shame. It would have been nice to have more people out here explaining what's going on. Obviously the weather can't be helped. We completely understand that. It's out of their control. But it just doesn't feel like it's been dealt with very well. We weren't told on our phones or anything. We haven't had any emails yet to say this is happening. So basically we've spoke to the cancellation desk in there. They've went to get our bags because we put them through, obviously, because we hadn't been told. So we just have to wait now and figure out how to get back home. We have to get back to Heathrow to pick up our car. Then it's a 4-hour drive, so we're not going to get home till maybe midnight. But more than that, I'm just really, really disappointed, guys. This hasn't happened to us. I'm disappointed we're not going to get to see the ship or anything like that. But we're still working things out at the moment. We've got to figure out where to pick up our bags. Nobody knows. So we need to work all that out. So stick with us and see what happens, eh? It's a massive disappointment, really, because the ship's just there and we're not going to be getting on her. I'm gutted.
So we've just been back inside just to confirm a few things because nobody seems to really know what is happening, and it's been a few hours now since that they actually decided they weren't going to Boston. So I appreciate if they just found out, but they've known for quite a while now and they've not got contingency plans in place. So I was going to say ground staff, but the staff that work here at the terminal, not Norwegian, they didn't know what's happening with bags. The Norwegian team have just said just to wait and they'll bring bags out to us eventually. Now, things like this do happen. Can't predict the weather, and we are so happy that they're keeping everybody safe and they're telling everybody now when they can. But the problem is what they're doing about it. I don't think it is good enough. So I spoke to them about refunds. 100% refund, which will be back into your bank account in 10 days. Unless you booked your flight through NCL, you're only receiving up to $300 compensation. And in the small print, it says that you have to first speak to your travel insurance company, and it's only if your insurance company refuses you that they'll give you that refund. So that seems a little, that's not our problem. That's the kind of the vibe I'm getting. It just shows you definitely do need travel insurance. Now, we've been quite lucky. We booked flexible tickets, so we were able to cancel our flights home with only a very, very small penalty. So for us, we're really lucky in that sense. But like Ben said, we're speaking to people inside who have spent thousands on flights and need to spend thousands more to get back to the USA, and they're all scrambling about what to do with no help from the cruise line.
Yeah, this is another reason maybe to use a travel agent in some circumstances as well, guys, because a lot of them are on the phone to their travel agents. We've just been speaking to lots of couples who are just so disappointed and have spent thousands and thousands of dollars to come here, took all of their leave from work as well, and now have to cancel because they have to go back to work because they simply don't have enough annual leave. So I feel so bad for them. We're so lucky that we get to do this all the time. So we were spending our time in there helping as many people as we can, just because there was no available help from anybody else. We're trying to book a lady a hotel here in Southampton tonight, and then a flight, I think she was back to Texas the next day. We were just spending as much time as we could sort of helping people because there was nobody else. And luckily, because we get to do this a lot, we kind of know how things work and where to look for cheap flights and stuff. So I feel good that we could help a few people. But apart from that, it is just so disappointing to see no help in there. There was no mention of any refunds or anything on the letters that they gave us. They're just not helping at all. So we have to pay about £200 for a taxi back to Heathrow in rush hour. That's about $300. That's a lot of money, guys. Money that we're probably not going to get back because we're going to lose our car parking as well. And is it really worth putting in a claim for insurance for just £300 or £400? But that's not the point. We really do feel like they should be helping people out more with this, and it's really disappointing from Norwegian. It really is. Just so last minute. They should have told us before we dropped off our blooming bags. I'm angry at that because we're going to be here for hours now while they try and find our bag on that huge ship. We've already been waiting 3 hours, so God knows how long we're going to be here. It's just disappointing, and we're tired now. So yes, we are a bit peeved off, but you know what? We're lucky, guys. We're very lucky we get to do this. I just feel bad for the people on there who this is their once of a year trip, and I don't fancy spending 9 days at sea in rough seas either, because I don't think it'll be the most pleasant cruise because of that. I think I would get major cabin fever. Right, let's go back in and have a look at what's happening now. Still waiting, guys. We've just been told by a supervisor with a bunch of other people that they may be sailing with our bags, even though it doesn't sail for another 2 hours. So we're not sure what's going on there, and we hope that's not the case, because obviously that can't be the safest thing, right? Sailing with our bags that are not with us. Surely that's got to be a safety concern, and hopefully the supervisor was misinformed. But we'll see. Everybody's kicking off now behind us, which is obviously, and a lot of people are very angry that they've arrived 2 hours after us and got all the way to the front of security after dropping off their bags and not being told. So they should have had somebody outside before we all dropped off our bags, because we wouldn't have dropped off our blooming bags. It's crazy. Why didn't they tell us? They've known for hours, so just really disappointed now, guys. Just want to go home now. It's going to be a really, really, really long day. And bless David, he's got to drive all the way home as well. It's a good 4-hour drive once we get to Heathrow. This is crazy. Absolutely crazy. So disappointed.
One of the frustrating things is that they're still letting people check in bags without telling them what's happened. So it's about 3.5 hours after we found out, and people are still coming in, and only when they get in here they've been told that the cruise is not going to where they're going and it's going to be 3 days late. That is not good planning, guys. So we have finally got our bags. It took 5 hours in the end to get our bags. Everybody was kind of in good spirits, except one gentleman turned around to me and said, "It's not getting funny. It's not funny anymore." I get it, guys. It is kind of frustrating. People are still inside waiting. We're very lucky. Our bag came out on the first batch that they have taken off. So the time is now 4 o'clock, and we got here around 11 this morning. So a bit of a long day. Let's head back up to Yorkshire and do a little bit of debrief when we get there. Well, we have just got back. Just kidding, it was yesterday.
Yeah, it was a long journey home last night, guys. We got in just before midnight. We stopped off for a cheeky KFC on the way home. It was a long drive. But on reflection, it's the next day, so we've calmed down a little bit. Obviously, it was very disappointing at the time. but there's more important things in life, isn't there, as well? And like we said in the video, we are so lucky that we get to do this as a job. So for us, it doesn't affect us as much. We're disappointed because we're really looking forward to getting on that brand new type of ship. She's a Prima Plus class ship, so she's about 10% bigger than the Viva and the Prima from Norwegian Cruise Line. So we were looking forward to exploring, and we were just looking forward to crossing the Atlantic because we really do like a transatlantic, don't we, David?
Yeah, we really do. And sharing the ship with you guys. So many of you were saying that you can't wait for us to be on the ship to show you what it's like. So that is our big disappointment, really, is just that we didn't get to experience the new ship and share it with everybody. And we didn't get to meet everybody who was on board because so many of you were messaging us saying, I can't wait to see you on board the ship. We did get to say hi to a few of you in the terminal.
It's so lovely.
But there is a few people that are like, where are you guys?
I know, it really does suck. But I feel really bad for the people who really had to cancel because of a few things. They had jobs they had to get back to, pets, they'd already booked accommodation and flights. And they're very expensive to change, guys. So this is why it's so important to get cruise insurance. Now, a few things I think Norwegian could have done better. We mentioned it a bit earlier on. We should have been told earlier. Why weren't we told the day before or early in the morning? We were there with one person who had checked in an hour before us. So they were waiting at least 6 hours for their bags. It was such a long day. And I think Norwegian could have had a lot more staff there because it was an inaugural cruise. So the first ever cruise with paying passengers on board. There was a lot of Norwegian officials and staff there, but just none of them were helping whatsoever, and I think that could have been a little bit better, supporting people in booking their flights, especially some of the older people who were there. They didn't have the knowledge that we have and the computer skills to be able to book things, so it was really sad seeing them kind of panic and not know how to get back to the USA to their family. We met one family who had a really important medical appointment. We had another whose pets were in care, and another one who had to go home because she was a nurse, and we were trying to help these people to book their flights and accommodation and things, and Norwegian weren't there to help at all. There were just nobody there and nobody knew what was going on, which is fair enough because these things happen. The most important thing is that Norwegian were keeping everybody safe. That's really important. It's definitely the right thing to do. I would prefer to be safe and have the cruise cancelled than be put in danger by going through some really rough seas.
Yeah, we can't blame them for changing the itinerary due to weather. It's just what happens, especially when you're crossing the Atlantic this time of year. It is still, well, winter really. We're only just getting into spring, so weather is unpredictable. So you always have to be wary of these things when you do book any cruise in the world, that things may change last minute. But the communication could have been better. Even after we found out that the cruise wasn't going to Boston, they were still letting people drop bags and not giving them any information until
hours later.
Until they'd gone into the terminal. The staff there at the port didn't really know what was going on.
They were all lovely though, very nice.
Everybody was really
and
lovely.
Very kind and very sympathetic, just nobody knew what was going on.
There wasn't really much of a big apology. There was sort of like, oh, sorry, and that was it. So it just could have been handled a little bit better communication-wise and helping people out. We do know that they did set up a help desk on board the ship to help people who had gone on the cruise and were doing the crossing to rearrange flights. But for those who didn't board the ship and decided not to take the cruise, there wasn't really any assistance at all.
We were there for a long time. It was freezing cold in the terminal because it's cold in the UK at the moment, but the terminal was cold and we were waiting for 5 hours. We had no food. There's nowhere to buy food there, nowhere to buy drinks or anything like that. So it was a bit shoddy that we were kind of just dumped there and left with no care. They had a desk just upstairs for the Haven travellers where they had cakes and sandwiches and things. They could have brought some of them down just to sort of soften the blow and make people comfortable while we were trying to sort things out. But at the end of the day, we're very lucky that we get to do this. In fairness to Norwegian, they refunded us very quickly, so we're expecting a refund any moment. We rang them and we were given a number to call, immediately refunded us after a few minutes of explaining because they didn't know what was going on either, and we've already had the email back to say we've been refunded. So that is very, very quick indeed. So that's very much appreciated.
Yeah, I got through to Norwegian really quickly, actually. I thought I was going to be on the phone on hold for ages, but I wasn't. They did give us the number to call. Again, though, it was us that had to sort it out. So we had to contact their sales office to get our refund or contact our travel agent if we did book it through a travel agent. But on that side, there was no quibbles, there was no questions. It was refunded to us.
Very good.
Any on-board purchases as well have been refunded straight back to our bank account. So no future cruise credits, no messing around with anything like that. Straight back to our bank account.
Now, a lot of people were complaining that they were getting no compensation. We saw a few people argue with the cruise line. Should you get compensation? I don't know, because it's weather. I mean, they can't help it, so why should they give people money? All I wanted was a little bit more support, especially for those who didn't know what they were doing. Now, our next cruise is only 3 weeks away, and it's going to be an amazing one because we're going to be cruising around Japan for the first time. How amazing is that, David?
Yeah, we are so excited, and fingers crossed that goes smoothly. It will be on Norwegian again, but one of their older ships. But this is going to be all about the destination. We need advice, guys. We need to start planning.
What we're going to do?
We have a very loose itinerary and not many details that we've filled in.
Yeah, so we're going away with a newfound confidence in that we can make things happen when things go wrong. And it's not the end of the world. First world problems and all of that. But yeah, it is what it is. It's just one of those things. And do you know what? It's good that we've got to cover it in our channel because it hasn't happened in over 100 cruises to us, but it just goes to show that it does happen. And this is how you've got to prepare for it. Have insurance and just be prepared, guys, honestly, and then you're going to be okay.
But what would you do? Let us know in the comments section below. What would you do in this scenario? What do you think of everything that we've said? Were Norwegian in the right? Were they in the wrong? Let us know in the comments section below.
Yeah, and we've got to say, if we could have done this, if we didn't have a wedding and a 40th birthday party in those 2 days which the cruise went over, we would have absolutely have done it. It would have been an extra 3 days for the price of a 7-night cruise. It would have been a big bonus, and like we said, we could have changed those flights easily. I guess that's it, guys. Please do hit that subscribe button and the like button. As we said, we've got loads of good stuff coming up. We've got a whole series on Utopia of the Seas coming up by Royal Caribbean, their newest ship. And a big thank you to our patrons as well. You too can become a patron by clicking the link in the description section below. And what it really enables us to do, we're completely transparent, is book cruises rather than being invited on board by cruise lines. Then we're made to say happy and nice stuff. We want to keep it really honest and transparent. Plus we give you loads in return, like extra episodes, full-length episodes, early access to our videos, ad-free access to our videos, behind the scenes stuff, and even a monthly video chat, which is a lot of fun. So you can find all of that information in the description section below.
That's it till next time.
Happy cruising!